So when it became illegal for public schools to be involved in any religious discussions, etc., do we follow that rule in our country to a T? No. I mean, Mrs. Overcast, doesn't she have praying at the pole, and she has her FCA group, which I'm not criticizing, I'm saying technically that's not legal to do on school grounds. You really shouldn't do that, but we do that. I'll give you a couple examples. When I was a school superintendent back in the old days, I had a guy come up to me and say, listen, I'm a little upset because you're going to have a Catholic priest give a prayer before graduation, this afternoon, and after graduation, because we would rotate ministers to do that every year. And I said, well, what's your problem? He goes, well, there's a division between church and state. I said, well, listen, buddy, not only are we going to do that, we are also having a United States Senator speak at commencement, so you can talk to him about it if you'd like to afterwards. And of course, the guy never said anything. Another instance I can remember in my career is we used to support all the local businesses and organizations, and so we had a bulletin board up at the school that I was at in Fort Benton, Montana, and the local Methodist church had a harvest dinner, right? It was a big fundraiser over Halloween weekend. And so we would put the flyer up so that people knew. Well, one day a guy comes in and he says, I want to put up this flyer. And it was, I don't remember the extent of it, but it was an atheist flyer, devil worshiping meeting or some crazy thing like that. And I said, well, I'm not going to put that up. And he says, well, yeah, you are, because you have that one up there for the Methodist church. What did I do? Did I put his up, Lily? No, what I do? I took the other one down. And it was sad, but I had to do that because he was making his point. My point is there is a separation between church and state, but normally people don't get too excited about it. But in bigger cities, it becomes more of an issue, I think, probably than small. It's kind of like standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. It's not a rule, but if we had everybody in the high school stand for the Pledge of Allegiance in the morning and some kids said, I'm not going to do that, it would be difficult to say, yeah, you are. You know what I mean? So anyway, that was it. But anyway, on June 25th of 1962, that's when the Supreme Court officially banned official prayer in public schools and built that wall we know as separation of church and state. On July 20th, this will not matter so much now, but it certainly will matter during the Cuban Missile Crisis, next test material. It was on July 20th that a Army general by the name of Maxwell Taylor became the head of the U.S. Joint Chief of Staff. Okay? On July 20th of 1962, Army General Maxwell Taylor becomes the head of the U.S. Joint Chief of Staff. U.S. Joint Chief of Staff. Anybody know what that is, the U.S. Joint Chief of Staff? If you're named to the U.S. Joint Chief of Staff, what they do in the Pentagon is every so many years, another branch of the military becomes the Joint Chief of Staff. And the one that leads that, the highest ranking officer, becomes the Joint Chief of Staff, who has more military power than anyone in the country with the exception of the President. So they're second in command. And it just so happened that on July 20th of 1962, it was the Army's turn, and General Maxwell Taylor becomes the Chief Joint of Staff. Now that is going to be crucial because he's going to play a very significant role in the upcoming Cuban Missile Crisis, obviously. Okay? All right, August 5th. All good things come to an end. On August 5th, 1962, Marilyn Monroe was found dead in her Los Angeles home of an apparent drug overdose at the age of 36. So on May 5th, 1962, actress Marilyn Monroe was found dead in her Los Angeles home of an apparent drug overdose at the age of 36. Now, we will have a special biography on Marilyn Monroe when we get to another topic later down the road called The Colorful and Colorless 1960s. And we'll tell you about her life, which was not an easy life. She had a very tough upbringing. She also was very, very depressed and not have great self-esteem, despite the fact that she was America's top sex goddess, so to speak, and an actress, she wasn't the greatest actress, but she got a lot of publicity because of the other things. She also appeared on the first ever issue of Playboy magazine. I mean, she was very well noted, but you think that somebody famous would really feel good about themselves? She really never did. And I think she was no doubt a drug abuser. There was no question. And of course, there's always conspiracy. I think the Kennedys had something to do with it, or everybody else, or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, it was pretty well known that she was a drug abuser, and I think she just decided that she wanted to sleep a little longer than normal and took more than she should have and died as a result. But we will talk more about that later. Okay, 17th of August. A young man by the name of Peter Fector laid in a pool of blood for over an hour after being shot in the back. August 17, 1962, a young man by the name of Peter Fector laid in a pool of blood for over an hour after being shot in the back. Anybody know what happened to him? The other class could not figure it out.
Gangsters?
Gangsters, good guess, no. So that's what somebody in the other class said that actually. What'd you say, dear? Peter Fector is going to lie in a pool of blood for an hour after being shot in the back.
Something has to do?
No, good guess.
Did the police shoot him?
Some police shot him.
Was it like a corrupt?
No,
Well, then
a policeman shot
is
him.
he a big robber? Is he a
No.
black?
He was white. A police officer a policeman did shoot him in the back. Shot him in the back with a machine gun.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Why would anybody do that? Peter Fector.
Was he like a famous criminal?
No. He was not an American. He was from Germany.
East or west?
He was from east trying to go west.
The communist?
He was trying not to be.
Oh, you were trying to escape East.
He was shot while trying to climb the Berlin Wall. Shot in the back. Now this, you don't have to write this stuff down, but this is sad. So he's attempting to defect over the 6-foot-high Berlin Wall. He was machine gunned down by East German police. So which side of the wall did he fall on? More than likely. East side. He lay there bleeding to death as helpless West German police and West Berliners could not do anything for him because he's laying on the East German side. You know what the police did from West Berlin? Threw bandages through the fence to try to get him to try to help himself out. He laid there for an hour and died. Now he went over there with a friend who, it's unfortunate, it's kind of like if a grizzly bear is chasing you, you want to be in the lead, not in the back, right? Well, his friend gets over the wall, he gets shot in the back. Can his friend go back and help him? No. He could, but would he? No. So Peter Fector becomes a casualty of the Berlin Wall early after it was put up. Shot in the back and laid on the East German side for over an hour. All right, September 25th. Sonny Liston defeats Floyd Patterson just 2 minutes into the first round of their heavyweight championship fight. On September 25th, Sonny Liston defeats Floyd Patterson just 2 minutes into the first round of their world championship boxing match. And he becomes heavyweight champion of the world. And you're thinking, who cares?
He's a prisoner.
No, good guess. This sets the stage for something because there's a young boxer who had just won an Olympic gold medal in the Olympics in 1960 that was going to try to win the heavyweight championship of the world. He won his first title shot. Who was that? Cassius Clay, who later went on to become Muhammad Ali. Okay, so Liston's victory over Patterson will set the stage for a very memorable heavyweight championship fight with Olympic gold medal winner Cassius Clay, who will knock out Liston early in one of the more famous fights in boxing history. Cassius Clay will win the heavyweight championship. He will later change his name and join the Muslim religion to Muhammad Ali. The Vietnam War will come. He will be drafted. He will refuse to serve our country. They will strip him of his heavyweight championship belt. He will lose millions of dollars not being able to defend that. Finally, in the 70s, they forgive him, so to speak. We'll get into this later when we get into sports in the 60s. He will be given his sanction back by the World Boxing Association. He will fight in some memorable fights with Joe Frazier, George Foreman, and he will win the championship, lose the championship, win the championship, lose the championship, and then stay on too long and end up getting beat up pretty good late in his career when he probably should have retired. He eventually develops Parkinson's, which many people attribute to the boxing, and died about a year ago, I would guess, is when maybe a little more than Muhammad Ali had died. But we'll talk all about him when we get into the subtopic down the line, sports in the 1960s. Okay, September 30th. This will be the start of something we will talk about a bunch when we get into President Kennedy and civil rights. On September 30th of 1962, a Negro by the name of James Meredith tries to enroll at the University of Mississippi. Okay, on September 30th, 1962, a Negro student by the name of James Meredith will try to enroll at the University of Mississippi. Now this will not be much different than what happened in Little Rock, Arkansas. The governor of Mississippi, Ross Barnett, will prevent him from enrolling. And you know what's weird about this one? This guy was an Air Force veteran. This guy served our country. And they would not let him go to school at the University of Mississippi because it was segregated. And Ross Barnett, the governor of Mississippi, personally prevented him from enrolling also. So who did he get into a confrontation with? President Kennedy. And we'll tell you that whole story when we get into civil rights under President Kennedy, but that was quite a story in itself too, which compared to the one in Little Rock, and will compare even more to one at the University of Alabama later. Okay, we have lots of issues. Okay, now, October, I won't even have to write anything down, but I just want to tell you from October 16th to the 28th, we are going to be involved in what in 1962? The Cuban Missile Crisis. Now, who wants to see a little Marilyn Monroe singing? Yeah.